So, The Amateur was directed by James Hawes and it stars Rami Malek, Lawrence Fishburne, Rachel Brosnahan, and a couple other people. And in this movie, Rami Malek plays a man whose wife is killed in a terrorist attack, and he starts going after all these people who are associated when the FBI, where he works, is not going to do anything about it and feel like he can't really do anything. He's not as strong as a regular agent and such. So he takes matters into his own hands. So I was kind of intrigued by this movie, mainly because of Rami Malek. I really like him as an actor, and I've been really fascinated by his career overall. His He's very good on Mr. Robot. I'm definitely really glad that he's moving up into movies and such. Obviously, he won an Oscar for Bohemian Rhapsody, which I didn't care for that movie, but he was really good in the movie, and I'm like, I'm okay with this win because he was fantastic. But I was also just glad that I did not have to see the Amateur trailer playing in front of every movie that was coming out. This trailer has been playing in front of everything for the last few months, and I'm like, finally, I don't have to see this trailer anymore. I can finally see the movie. Hopefully, it's as good as they're making it to be because it's playing in front of every movie. See this movie, and is it we're seeing? Kind of. There are aspects of this movie that I really like, but there are aspects of this movie that I felt like were just very disappointing. First off, let's get to the pros. Once again, Rami Malek is fantastic in this movie. I not necessarily love, but I think his character is very fascinating. I do like his character arc through the entire movie, and I do like the ways that he's kind of like trying to go after these people. And I won't spoil it by any means, but it's definitely very fascinating to see a movie like this where it's like, okay, main character is going after all these people, but they're very unconventional ways that you would not normally see in a movie like this. I do think there are some silent scenes in this movie where it's just him kind of like reacting to stuff, and he's just intense. And I'm like, he's fantastic in this movie, and he's carrying the entire movie. Meanwhile, I do like the themes of like how far people would go for the ones that they love, and I do think that's very interwoven very well in this movie. And I do think that there are some thrilling sequences in this movie. Now, you saw some of the trailer where it's like, oh, there's this one that's on a rooftop pool and such. That sequence was pretty cool. There's also one with a car bomb that was pretty intense. And also, there's one that you didn't see in the trailer that I thought was really cool. It involves a lab, and Ryan Malek goes after someone in the lab. It's like, okay, this is actually really interesting. I actually thought that was pretty clever. It's like, okay, that's really cool. But I wish some of these scenes were not in the trailers. They show a lot of stuff in the trailer. Did nobody learn from Companion? Don't give away your entire movie in your trailer. And I just hate that. I hate that this trailer shows off a lot of those sequences, and they just show them, and it kind of spoils a lot of the excitement for this movie. Unfortunately, this movie is also very low energy and it's very slow. Now, I've heard a lot of people say this: slow burn versus slow movie. I don't mind a slow burn movie just as long as it's enthralling and involving and such. But this movie is slow. It is not a slow burn. There's hardly anything that happens in this movie, and it feels like sequences kind of just happen without really much rhyme or reason. It is as straight as you can possibly go in a movie. At no point does it really have any twists, any turns, and I'm like, I could have at least been okay if there were like a few twists in this movie. At least the movie didn't go for like the very cliche, very generic twist that I thought was going to come, and I'm like, okay, at least you didn't do that movie. Thanks for doing that. Problem is, you're as straight as you could possibly be. There are hardly any jokes in this movie. There are a couple like one-liners every once in a while, but it's not like it's not goofy by any means, but it's also way too serious. I'm like, smile every once in a while. Come on. Also, anytime Rami Malek is not on screen, that's when I felt like the movie was starting to fall apart a bit. Like, there's a subplot involving some of the people that he works with who are trying to catch him and such, and I'm like, it doesn't really go anywhere, unfortunately. Like, it's kind of interesting to see, like, him uncover some of these things, but at the same time, it's like, this doesn't really matter in the movie in the long run because, like you mentioned in the beginning, and you mentioned again at the end, I'm like, oh, I kind of thought, oh wait, I forgot about that. Like, you brought it back up, and I'm like, great. Not really anything you did. There wasn't really anything you did in that movie with this subplot. Could have interwoven it in some way, but you didn't. And also, there are a couple characters in this movie where I'm like, well, what are they doing in this movie? Like, a couple actors in this movie, I'm like, I recognize them. John Bernthal's in this movie. I'm like, at first I was like, is that John Bernthal in the trailer? It's like, and then the end credits confirmed that was him. Like, he was in this movie. Cool. He doesn't do anything. He literally doesn't do anything. I think he was just visiting set a few days, and they just wrote a character for him. And it's just, there's no reason for him to really be in this movie. And also Lawrence Fishburne, I like Lawrence Fishburne. For the most part, his character is kind of just okay. Like he mostly does exposition. Um, and there are a couple moments like, during like when he's trying to find Rami Malek's character that is kind of interesting, and his character is a little bit more interesting then, but I don't think there's enough of the chase. And I think there's just not enough energy. There's not enough energy, there's not enough focus on certain things. And I just felt like for a movie called The Amateur, ironically, the movie is very amateurish itself, despite the talent involved from in front of the camera, even behind the camera. I just felt like this movie could have been a lot more than it actually was. Now, again, Rami Malek carries this entire movie. I thought he was the main star of the movie. Who I thought his character was very fascinating, and I definitely like a lot of the themes that are kind of interwoven in this movie a bit. Also, there are some thrilling sequences, even though some of them are given away in the trailer. There are a couple that aren't in the trailer that are actually really cool. But anytime Rami Malek is not on screen, it's not interesting. It's kind of dull and really goes nowhere. The subplots and characters themselves aren't really that interesting outside of Malek's character. Again, it is very, very low energy. It is probably the most basic plot point from A to B that you can think of, and that is just very, again, very amateurish. I will give The Amateur 2 out of 4 stars. Stream it. So, what is your favorite revenge movie? Comment down below, subscribe to the channel. This is Pat, and stay safe.